Making the energy that keeps South Bay doing keeps you on your toes, considering your neighbors live right over the fence. So Chevron built the Refinery Optimization Center, a.k.a. The Rock. High-tech monitoring 24/7.
We rock around the clock.
Very funny. An always live hotline, thousands of monitored devices, infrared eye in the sky, and one control room to oversee it all. Chevron doers finding better ways to do what they do to keep South Bay doing.
Oh, yeah.
Sing it to him, Muddy. That's a hard place to be in. Get up out that muddy water. You ain't know? Alright.
When you up in that muddy water, fight longer, fight harder, get stronger, never give up. When you up in that muddy water, I done been up in that muddy water. I done been up in that muddy water. I'm sorry, I'm standing on solid shore, and I don't want to go back in that muddy water. I ain't going back in that muddy water. Okay, I told her wake up, it's the first of the month. I got up, I got my hustle on, it's time to stack up. Like Pringles and Legos and Jingles, and yeah, I play with bricks. Stack them up like cinder blocks, take you back to 06. When a dude move plenty weight, holla at young Snoopy, he could get a full plate. Known by every hood, man, woman in your area. Always on point so you can enjoy the best of it. Then I'm on the move, old Atlanta 7 Mike Vick. When I was in the whip, I always stayed D-low, cause I ain't got time to get stopped by the people, it don't equal, cause even I know where that road goes. Now let the beat sing out. Now let the beat sing. Can I do that? When you up in that muddy water, fight longer, fight harder, get stronger.
Whoa. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is your host, Lamont Patterson, and you listen to Can a Player Play? And I thought I'd do a shameless plug with one of our artists today. Started the show with Muddy Waters. I don't know what it made me feel like, but I like that blues thing. Ha, ha. Anyway, welcome to Can a Player Play? And I am joined with the usual suspects, my learned colleague, Dr. Matthew Anderson.
Hey, buddy.
Hey there, sir. How you doing today? This beautiful Sunday that the Lord has given us. How you doing today?
It's beautiful here. Sounds like it's great where you are, too. Wonderful. I was riding around all day long with the top down.
Oh, there you go with that convertible mess again. I'm going to go get me
That's
some.
That's kind of dangerous for bald-headed guys, though, man. I mean, I have to put my hat on after a while.
Come on, man. Birds got to have something for a target.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm gonna go get me a can opener and make me a convertible when I get off the show today.
Yeah. I hope it's somebody else's car instead of yours.
Oh man, stop!
How come you don't have one? You should have one. There's a lot of good weather out there to drive around with the top down.
That is so true. That is so true. Hey, well, we got a great show today for our listeners, talking about one of their favorite subjects. I really like to talk about food. You like to talk about love, so it should be fun for you.
My favorite subject.
Well,
we should have a show on loving food, and it would be perfect, right?
Oh, that would be great.
Yes.
Well,
we do have a great guest today.
Yeah, introduce our artist, our guest today, and let's get her going.
Let's just check. Tonya, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. Welcome to our show, Tonya.
Hi, Matthew.
Good to hear your voice. I'm going to introduce you, Tonya, and then Lamont and I are going to ask you about a million questions. But let me just give some information for our listeners before we start pestering you with questions. And you're going to have to be a little careful here because Lamont gets really weird when it gets on the subject of love. So,
well, I'm pretty weird. I can give some pretty weird answers too.
Okay, all right. Well,
that's because not too many people know how to make a Vienna sausage souffle with tits and grapes.
Oh. Now I got to recover from like a half hour just thinking about that. That's terrible. Vienna sausage souffle.
Which
Tonya, I'm going to apologize for him right now. I'm apologizing for him right now.
I accept your apology.
A million times. Good. Let me introduce you. Today, our guest is Tonya Davis, who was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, raised in Compton, California. And Tonya found herself having to adapt a drastic wake-up call when she became the daughter-in-law of Tookie Williams, founder of Chips Gang. Tonya had a strenuous life, overcame many obstacles, including sexual abuse and domestic violence, and finally found herself without a husband or a home. She overcame her struggles, started a new life, a beginning of life, and graduated from Loma Linda University in California with a degree as a lab technician, and was into the medical field for a few years and then decided to change the pace of her life. She decided to launch her own first African-American digital magazine called Black Hollywood News Magazine, which began her success in 2008. And she's interviewed some of the hottest celebrities in the industry, including Michael Jackson, Monique, Jaime Foxx, Spike Lee, and Jenifer Hudson. Jenifer Hudson. I'm losing my voice here.
I'm like, no, I didn't interview Jenifer's husband.
I know. Okay, that's right. She was left out. In 2013, Tonya took a trip to Shreveport, Louisiana, and leaped into television, where she developed her own talk show, the Tonya Davis Show for KSLA and Bounce TV. Her show is developed based on her life experiences. Her show empowers, educates, heals, inspires, and tackles the issues of today's world. Tonya, we are really happy to have you with us, and I think today we're going to be talking about love and relationships, and hopefully we're going to do something here that is going to be good for Lamont, because he needs as much help as he can get. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
If you don't mind, Tonya, I would appreciate it if you would begin by simply giving us an idea of where you would like our conversation to go today, and then we will be obedient with that and get someplace in that direction.
That.
What would you like to talk
men.
about?
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. I was speaking for Lamont there. He's obedient.
Well, I would just like to just start with wherever you guys want to start. Let's just get it going. The conversation of, I noticed Lamont wanted to speak on love and how love is not selfish, and that's pretty much how I feel about it. Love can't be selfish, and the reason why I say that is because we always do things that we don't want to do in relationships. Let's just be honest. I mean, for example, I sometimes don't want to cook. But, because you love that person, and it's not just because you don't have to cook if you don't want to. They can go fix their own food, or they can go to the store and get some food, or McDonald's or wherever. But because we love a person, we sometimes make these sacrifices and things that we don't want to do, like I said, and, it makes the relationship, a lot better. We compromise with things when it comes to love. That's why I say when you cheat on someone, I just don't see how you love them. I just don't, because, like I said, love is a sacrifice. It's selfless. So if it's selfless, I think before you cheat, you should be thinking about that woman or that man or whoever you're with. They should come to mind, because you should be like, I love them enough not to do this. So that's just how I feel about it, and why I feel like love is selfless.
I think that's a good point. What do you think about Lamont? Lamont? Hello?
No, I was saying that it's a whole lot of people in the cemetery might want to argue that point, because women be standing up and talking, I just love you so much. I love you so much. I didn't mean to shoot you 9 times.
I told you he was weird, Tonya. I told you that.
No, but I can.
No, I do think that's a really good point about cheating. So if you want to say a little bit more about that, that's great.
Well, my thing is, cheating is a choice, just like love is a choice, okay? To me, when you cheat, that's premeditated, because you had the opportunity at any time to get out of that situation, okay? But you chose to do it anyway. So that's why, to me, it's just I don't have like I can't really support it. You know, it's one of those things where some people say it's just a thin line between love and hate for me, pretty much. That's how I feel about it. And going to what Lamont said, why men end up in the cemetery and said I killed them. Women too. Women and men. Yeah, that's not love, though. Let me say that's a little obsessed. Okay, I don't think that love is not going to kill you. Okay, that again, love is selfless, not selfish. So again, killing someone would be a very selfish act.
I agree with that.
Well, let me ask the question. You said love is a choice. How come people walk around all the time, they fall in love with somebody, and they didn't choose to love that person? They just fell in love with that person. So how are they in control? I mean, you never heard of a situation where somebody just fell in love with somebody? Did they purposely go out to do that, or did that just happen?
That's in movies. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that people just fall in love. Like, I just met you today and it was love at first sight. That's what we see in movies, okay? Now, so I'm speaking on reality. Reality is it is a choice, because when you meet someone, you have a choice whether to go with them on this walk or this journey that you guys are about to take. You have to take time to get to know them. All of this is, like I said, a choice. And you just don't fall in love with people. It's some people you meet, you know, when you're dating that, you know, everything is going good, and then all of a sudden you pull back because maybe you saw something that you didn't want to see. Again, that was a choice. You walked away. Now, falling in love, you kept on, you know, with the relationship. You kept trying to go with it, and all of a sudden, yes, then you develop feelings. Again, a choice. But you have the opportunity at any time to walk away and choose not to do it. But you chose to walk into, and you opened yourself up for love.
Okay, Matthew, you want to fall on that sword?
I think that's a really good point about opening oneself up for love is a very important step in the relationship. And if a person walks around, I'm going to guess you may agree with me, Tonya, but I'm interested in your point of view about this. I think a lot of people walk around not quite so open to it, and then that doesn't work too well when they get into a relationship. They may be given 25% of who they are, or 50 or 75, but whether we're open to it or not is a really big deal, I think. What do you think?
I agree. Again, a lot of times, some people, because of their past pains, and I have been guilty of this, because of their past pains, they don't want to give that. I would say 50%, because the other 50 is the mate. Okay, so I would say they would not open themselves up to give 50% of themselves. Why? Because they are used to being hurt. They don't trust. And that's where you have to get yourself to get together first, because I don't think that you can actually love someone until you actually love your pain. And what I mean by love your pain is this. When you go through, like I said, I had a very rough, coming up, okay? When I noticed when I went through all those different things, I started to attract all those negative situations in my life, negative relationships, okay? Now, when I opened myself up to forgive, to embrace my past, to embrace the pain, the good, the bad, I noticed, hey, I was more open to love. Then I became more vulnerable, okay? So once I released that and began to become vulnerable instead of more, like I used to be more on the defense, I found that, okay, now the right people are coming along. Now, I'm not going to say it took that one guy, but it took still a couple more for me because I was growing. Because they basically came to me at a time when I was on a journey, okay, of discovering me, on forgiving things like that. So once I did that, then I was able to receive love. And I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes it's still not hard to receive love because sometimes, even though you've moved on, you still, when you get to a certain age, I would say myself, you still kind of bring that. You still got a little bit of baggage, I would say, you know, because you release, but you still are cautious, you know, but you're not as cautious as you used to be. You're not as closed, if that makes sense. So I'm open for love now, but at the same time, I'm no fool. I'm still going to keep my eyes open. I'm not going to be naive that no one can do wrong, because no one is perfect. And that's another thing you have to remember in love. Your spouse or your mate or whomever you choose is not going to be perfect. And that's something that people can't seem to get in their thick skulls when they choose people. I have girlfriends who have PhDs, for example, and they have these expectations that are ridiculous for love. I mean, he has to drive a Maserati. He has to have a mansion. He has to have all these things. But to me, it's a little ludicrous to expect a person to have this six-pack, to eat vegetables all day, to do all of these things. And that's just not love, and that's not realistic either. And you're not open when you expect all these things, because when your expectations exceed what that mate can do, you're not going to be able to really love them the way, you know, unconditionally, and love is unconditional. So you do have to keep in mind that love is not perfect either. And that's just how I feel about it. What you guys think?
Don't you think a lot of that could be because a lot of people have either don't know how to love or forgot how to love, and a lot of society now is on survival mode?
I think the media plays a big part in this for women, okay? Now we see a lot of these entertainers and people who date entertainers, or they choose just ball players and all, because they want them a reality show or whatever their agenda is. But now we're seeing that a lot of young women are going after what they see on television, or going after. That's really why the expectations have been raised. Because of the media, because of, you know, the girls, they get with these guys and they're going to get everything, like all the material. It's become more material, like you said. It's really about survival. A lot of these women are in relationships where they're in contracts, because love, I don't know. I don't even know really if love exists for people anymore, really, nowadays, because what I'm seeing now, and you brought up a good point, Lamont, that it's not even about love anymore. It's about survival, you know. And I can attest to this. My own daughter, you know, she's 23, and she, for some reason, I've talked to her many times, like, okay, so, you know, what type of guys you like, da-da-da. Oh, he needs to have this, he needs to have that. But she said nothing else but material. Everything came out of her mouth was material. And I said, okay, you don't want love? She's like, what does love got to do with this? This is not about, Mom, like, I'm old school. Like, Mom, no such thing as love anymore. Okay, so you would allow, well, you know, sometimes when you date these guys, I tell her, this is how I talk to her, they're going to, if you want a man who has all this money, there's other consequences that come with that. You know, he might cheat, he might have, is that okay? I don't care if he cheats. That's how women see it now. It's okay.
Well, I don't know. I kind of think that women were set up a long time ago, as were men. We were always taught, you know, the man is the head of the household. You go out and get a job. You take care of your family. Blah 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 blah. But what was the woman taught? You know, the woman was taught, you know, you go out and get you a good man. You look pretty. You do all this other stuff. But I never heard them teach their daughters to go out and get an education. Be you, do what you could do, so you'll have something to bring to the table, so you won't be dependent on no man or anybody else for that matter. So I think a lot of people are set up like that from their parents and society. You know, and you know, some of us are taught behavior, like what you're speaking of as your daughter, just becoming materialistic, because I know that wasn't the way that you raised her to be. So, and it's just that way, you know, and, you know, society right now, you know, the man's supposed to do this, the man's supposed to do that, the man's supposed to do that, but you don't really hear that same thing about the woman's supposed to do that. And to have a very fruitful and a relationship that grow, I think both people have to bring something to the table or be like vested, and not to say that the woman have to make the same amount of money as the man or vice versa, but whatever they bring to the table, whether it's companionship, friendship, they cook or they rub your toes or whatever it is, it takes that to make anything to be fruitful and grow. That's just my little opinion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, what did you tell your daughter?
Well, the way I use like a different approach with my daughter. I like to observe her. So I like to listen to her, how she sees things, and the way she sees things is this: it is survival for her. She's on her own. She's been on her own since she's been 18. She did not have a father because her father was murdered before she was even born. So she didn't have that father figure. So those type of things has affected her. She saw me in the rough, She witnessed all these things that a child shouldn't have witnessed. And instead of she's learned from my mistakes, but she took it in a way where she protects herself. I think it's more of a fear of going through what her mama went through. I saw mama go through all of that. I'm not going through that.
Yeah.
So to avoid this, I don't really want a commitment. But you really do want a commitment, but you don't trust that you can have a commitment, to anyone.
Yeah.
You don't trust that they will be committed to you. You might have she has a few abandonment issues, So there's a lot of things with my daughter. I'm very delicate when it comes to her. I like to listen to her. She knows my point of view. She thinks that I am a little old-fashioned, as she calls it. And the way I approach her is kind of like reverse psychology. Get where she's at, see where she's at, and then I have my own way of dealing with it. And some of the advice I give to her is, you be your own woman. You can do it. You're smart enough. You're beautiful enough. These are things that I share with her and I instill in her. Be yourself, create your own Hollywood because she's in music. Be fearless. These are things that I instill in my daughter. And she's still working on, she's 23. So, of course, at 23, you're still coming into your womanhood, as I call it. You're still learning yourself. So that's pretty much where my daughter is now. And I'm just blessed to be able to, because my mother growing up, she wasn't very boisterous as I am. I'm very open with my daughter. And when I was growing up, I had to figure it out on my own, because, of course, my mother was from the South. And she grew up with a mother from the South. And, nobody talked about anything in the South. That's how it was. Nobody talked about sex. Nobody talked about anything. So these are the things that I get to talk about with my daughter. I'm blessed to be able to do that. And, we have a very open relationship about everything. Love relationship. As soon as something happens, she's calling me. She's, and I'm telling her the way it is, She has a guy now I don't like. She knows I don't like him. He knows I don't like him. But at the end of the day, I let her make her own choices because this is her journey. And she's going to have to experience life just as I did. But my goal for her is that she learns from me and don't have to do that. But, of course, she still has to.
Yeah, that's true. Often. It's hard to get people to listen to experience, and yet until it becomes their own experience. And we tend to pay attention then once we have our own experience. But it's just kind of an unusual skill to learn from somebody else's experience without having to go through it yourself. But at 23, I think at 23, and we say now, in the past, I don't know, 20 years, we say that adolescence now lasts from 13 to about 28. So, somebody in their early 20s is still looking at where they want to be in life and what they want to do and what life is really about in a way that, when I was 23, I was already married for 2 years. Wow. So, that's a unusual kind of thing. Not unusual. It's adolescence lasts longer now. Kids have more time to think about it, and that's why a lot of you said your daughter's on her own. A lot of kids where I live after college, they come back and live with their parents some more. It's like they don't know what they do, so they go home. That's not an idea that I'm crazy about, but it happens. So you have this question: can a man love a woman if he cheats? I think you kind of answered that, but I'm just wondering. It sounds like it's a pretty. Do you know people who think the answer to that might be maybe or yes, or what's your opinion about that, Tonya?
Well, yes, there are people who say yes, they can, because it goes back to we are not perfect, like I said, and a man makes mistakes. Oh, and I was told also, and you guys can probably answer this, is that men don't take sex, love and sex is two different things. You know, just because they have sex with a woman doesn't mean they love them. So they can love the woman that they're with, but they can have sexual relationships with someone else. So this is what I hear as well, because sex is different from love. These are two different things. Men are just, you know, they don't look at love the same. And I think love is your perception of love. Everybody has a different perception of what love is. And I think that's important to find out before you begin falling in love with somebody, too. What is your perception of love? You know, what is love to you? So, and that was actually one of my questions, too, before I got in a relationship. What is love to you? You know, is love, you know, everybody has a different way of loving. Some people love with money. True, they really do. Some people love with hugs and kisses. They find that that's their way of expressing love. Some men believe they love by when I pay all the bills, I'm loving you. You know, everybody has a different experience of love, and that comes from childhood, too, and how you were raised. And I think it also has to do with age as well.
All those are valid points. All those are valid points, Tonya.
Okay.
Can we go back to the comment about men and sex?
You don't.
You have a good giggle. You have a cute giggle. You really do. So here's the thing. I believe, in my experience, is any man who says he can separate love and sex is full of BS. Maybe it's elephant size. I think that ultimately men have as many feelings about being sexually connected to somebody as a woman does, and a man who says he doesn't, I think, is broken. And I think a woman should stay the hell away from him, because that's just a cop out. It's a way to avoid being responsible and clear in a relationship. And it's just pretty much crap when men say that. And that's generally my response to guys who say it. And what
about the professional women, Matthew? There's tons of women out here that are professionals, and they have that same mentality.
What do you
Which
mean
mentality?
They go to work all week, and they really not trying to find in love with nobody, but they're not gay or nothing, and they just go have sex and not trying to fall in love.
That's a broken woman.
Yeah, that's called. I have a phrase for that, Lamont. I call it mutual masturbation.
That's my word too. Don't be trying to steal my word.
I had that long before you were even a little boy. I knew that phrase.
Now you're telling people how old you are. Golly, go back to Methuselah now.
I think that is two people who just agreed to use each other's bodies to get off on, and as long as it is mutually in agreement, no one's being forced, that's certainly their right. But it's not love, and it's not going to necessarily lead to love. It's just, let me use your attractive body to get myself off.
You almost said something right there. You almost said something. Hold that point right there. Hey, to our listeners who just joined us, you listen to Can a Player Play. If you have a comment, would like to join us, we'd love to have you. Just press number 1 on your phone. Let us know that you're there, and we will let you join this hot topic, because we know you're listening. We know you got something to say, so don't be scared. All right, Matthew. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I hope somebody does call in. A good subject. Tonya, I know I said a lot there. I just wanted to see. You said you agreed with some of it. So what do you think?
Yes, I do. I believe women, I've heard this too, where a woman just says she wants to get off. No, this is a woman in fear and does not believe she deserves to have a committed relationship. She is in fear that anyone can love her. She's in fear that she probably, like I said, it goes back to like I was saying about my daughter. I mean, these are issues that stem from childhood, how she views love and how she saw love. She's probably her father. Her father, to me, the first introduction to love is your father. When you don't have that father figure in the home, and we were talking about this last week about women who don't have fathers in the home and how they're so angry and broken. And I kind of agree and disagree with because everybody's not like that. You know, everybody deals with their situations different. But I do agree that when you don't have that first introduction of love by your father, it does tamper with your view on how you see men. And I can say that because my father was in my life, okay? I grew up with my father. When I turned 15, he was gone. Everything that happened to me from molestation and everything was while my father was there, okay? But nothing was done about it, okay, which it really messed me up because I felt like something should have been done. But then at 15, my father disappeared. He left. He started a whole new relationship with someone else. Yes, my mom wanted a divorce. Okay, yes. But at the end of the day, he disappeared. When he divorced my mom, he divorced me. That was to me, I was very close to my father. Like, on the weekends, me and my brother, we would go play basketball. I did everything with my father. Everything that was tomboyish, I did. I wanted to do. And that is every weekend we looked at movies. These are the things that my father, this was our relationship. And this is the relationship that we built for many years. So imagine at 15 when he disappears and you don't know where he is, and all of a sudden you're searching for your father. And then one day you find out he's actually in the same state as you. You're thinking he's long gone, and he's actually about 2 hours away from you. And he's with a whole other family. So then you feel abandoned by your father. So this is how I saw men. I saw men as not sticking around. So all my relationships lasted maybe about 3 months, 4 months, you know. I kept temporary relationships. That was safe for me. That was normal. You know, it wasn't normal to be in when I started to get the year relationship, it was like, oh, my God, I used to count it. I used to actually count how long I was with somebody. And if I was with them over 6 months, I'd be like, okay, 6 months, I made it. Okay, let's see where this is going. By the time I got through counting, though, guess what happened to 7 months? I wasn't in that relationship anymore. And I believe I would sabotage those situations myself. I don't think I did it subconsciously, you know, because then that would be the point I would get more aggravated. It was like, oh, no, it's over. Bye. I was quick to tell you it was over, you know. I was that type of person. But, again, it all began because of the abandonment that I felt from my father. And I still feel abandoned from my father to this day. You know, have I moved on from it? I'm not going to even lie to you, no. I don't even, but this is what I've done with my father. I had to now I forgave him, and I told him I did, but I will never forget because he still continued, even as an adult, to abandon. That's when I have to take responsibility myself because I'm an adult, and I have to say, you know what, I'm not going to allow myself to go through this anymore. Just like you would with a man. I had to do that with my father, unfortunately. And I had to tell him, I do not want you in my life any longer. Don't come and pop in and out. You're not going to pop in and out of my life. That's when I had to take a stand. Not saying I don't love him, not saying I don't forgive him, but saying I had to take a stand and say, I'm not going to allow you to continue to hurt me. And that's what I did. And I told him, until you get your stuff together, I don't want you in my life. Or my children. Because he wasn't even in my children's life, to be honest with you. My children don't even know my father is their father. They know my new father, I call him. I'm not going to say my step, because that's the person that I consider my father, who's been there now.
Question.
Well, that took a lot of strength to do that.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt. I cried like a baby when I told him, because he popped in my life on Facebook one day. And about a couple years ago. And when he popped in on it, said, I'm in Odessa, Texas or something. It was something he was saying. And I'm like thinking, I haven't heard from you in how long? Really? Okay. So I think now, and it hurt me to have him send me a message after all those years had passed. That's what hurt me. It's like, okay, here we go again, this cycle. We're going to stop this. I am not going to. So I had to tell him, hey, no more. Get yourself together. When you're ready to stay in my life and be a father, then we can have a relationship. But until then, you need to move on.
Lamont, you were getting ready to say something before I interrupted you.
Me?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Tonya about. I think she mentioned something about sexual abuse. I know we've published a book on that subject, and I want to know, how did that affect you? And I thought I heard you say your father was around when that happened, or did I not hear that correctly?
Yes, he was.
Can you speak on that a little bit, on how you dealt with that, and how you dealt with that, and how you was able to move forward after that?
Right. So at the age I was molested from the age of 5 years old to 10 years old, and that was part of, like I said, some of my turmoil with men. Because, again, remember, first introduction, father, second introduction, pedophile, So it's kind of like I had these two. It just was a very confusing situation to have to deal with, because now I'm a teenager and I'm still carrying this load, not facing it, I never got any psychiatric help or anything. My mom didn't put me through anything. So I had to deal with these things on my own. I had to finally find something within myself to say, you know what, this is not going to happen to me anymore. And my mother, I remember one day came in the room and she said, why didn't you tell me you were being molested? Okay. And she found out because this person was molesting the other children in the neighborhood, and one of the little girls actually told her mother. So I suppose her mother called my mother because we were all going to the same babysitter, to the same daycare, to the same person that was watching us after school. And I had been going there for many years, like I said, from like 5 years old on up. And finally, when my mom asked me, I was thinking to myself, because I did not know I was supposed to, because they told me not to tell. So you got to think, it's like for me hearing, why didn't you tell me? Now you've made me accountable for this person. That's how I felt. I was accountable. Now I'm in trouble because I didn't tell what this person did to me. But actually, in actuality, this is what I grew up with. So that's when my mental state kind of changed, because now I blame myself. Now I'm growing up hating myself, angry at myself for allowing someone to touch me, to have relations to me, because it went from touching to actual sexual, relations. So then you're psychologically messed up when it comes to men, totally, because and then it messes up with your relationship with your mom, your father. It all becomes a little more complex. So I would say the first step for me was forgiving myself, okay? Because remember, when my mom came to me, I blamed myself after that. Yeah. So then the next step, after I forgave myself for not taking a stand and doing something about it, I had to forgive my mother. Because at that point, I now have anger with her for coming to me and asking me, a child, why didn't you do something? Because the question should have been asked to me is, why didn't I do something? Or I'm sorry that happened to you. Because you are the parent. You are supposed to take care and protect your child. So you then grow up angry at your mom. For many years, I was angry at my mother up until 30 years old, no lie. I finally forgave my mother at 30 years old because I blamed her for not protecting me. Because my question was, where were you when this was happening? Or why didn't you know that your little girl was being molested? I love my mother to death now, because now once I forgave my mom, it goes back to love again. I've opened myself up now for love too, because when you go through that and you're mad at your mom, you're mad at your dad, and you're angry at all these people, how can I love anybody? Because I'm angry at everybody. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at my mother. I don't love her no more. You know, you got this whole. It's almost like a hatred. You grow up 20-some years with this hatred inside of you. Go ahead.
Do you still think that affects you today, Tonya, with your relationships with men because of that?
That's why, let me tell you the difference with me. I'm like an open book when it comes with men. I tell you exactly what it is, okay? And I expect you to tell me exactly what it is. So if I find out something that we both knew from the get-go, I think that it's very important that women share with men some of their experiences. Now, not right in the beginning. I don't agree with that. I'm kind of like a private when it comes to that. But once you start to get to know this person a little bit, you can kind of tell the ones that you want to share your life with and share your story with. Because if I share my story with you, what does that mean? I trust you, okay? So if I trust you, then I'm trusting you with my secrets, I'm trusting you with my heart, I'm trusting you with my everything. And I feel like if you trust me, you're going to give me the same. That's where the 50-50, we're now 100%. Now, if you choose to play with me after that fact or to abuse me, and I call it abuse when, you know, if you're out cheating or whatever else you're choosing to do, after you've known that this woman has gone through all of this, then I'm out. It's no excuse. You know, I just feel like that's why I was saying there's no real thin line for me. There's no, okay, well, I'm going to come back to you. So, yes, it did affect me. It made me a harder person. It made me, go ahead.
No, I just going to say, homeboy don't know. He flirting with death.
I'm laughing. No, I'm laughing because, I told him that one time. I said, if you cheat on me, I'm going to kill you. No. But no. And, you know, like I said, relationships are not perfect. But, you know, like I said, I believe if you're honest and both of you are, you know, open and honest, you know, everything. And like I said, that's anything. If you are a cheater, be real. If you have a problem with, you know, monogamy, let me know. That's the type of person I am. I will, at that moment, have a right to choose. Give me the right to choose. That's what I'm about. When you don't give me a right to choose, that's when I'm angry, when I don't get that right to choose. As long as I got the right to choose, we're good.
Tonya, tell me, how did you get or find the ability to forgive your mom? And you also said your dad, too, that you had forgiven both of them. How did you do that? How did you find the strength to do that?
I found the strength when I got sick and tired of going through the same relationship. I one day sat in the car, literally. This was after I was married to Tookie Williams' son. I was stabbed. And I was sitting there in the car going, I want to be free. Because you have to remember, this is like a bondage. This is pain. This is pain every single day. You are walking in pain. Go ahead.
Can I jump in one second? I just want to say something because I don't believe I know who Tookie Williams is, and I know earlier in the show Matthew said Chips instead of Crips. So could you explain to Matthew who
it's
Tookie
misspelled.
is?
That's what happened.
No, it is. No, I went back and checked too. It is misspelled on your information, Tonya, but we shouldn't say that. But anyway, explain to Matthew Tookie is, because I don't think he have an idea. But the word is Crips, Matthew, not Chips. You know,
Crips.
The Crips like gangs.
I know, and that's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay. Okay.
I know
West
Side
Williams.
Crips. I know West Side Crips.
Okay.
So
we're talking
Williams,
South Central LA, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So,
funny, Chips.
Tookie Williams, I guess Tookie Williams is known as the founder of Crips, as they say. And, you know, he was electrocuted. He got the electric chair. He's no longer with us. And I actually did not know that I married his son okay, alleged son, they say. It came out in the news later, in the radio, I heard it. That's how I found out, actually. It was funny because after I was stabbed, he went to jail. And when he went to jail, I was listening to the radio, and they were like, oh, it was during the same time when Tookie was about to get, go under, when he was getting ready to be killed, And after, I'm just driving down the street, and I hear it on Big Boy. He says on the radio, yeah, they're protesting, Jaime Foxx, Snoop. They were talking about all these different people, all these different celebrities. And we got Tookie Williams' son. And I said, Tookie Williams' son? And they were like, Lafayette. And I was like, what? Is this the same crazy Lafayette I was married to? And then it just all made sense. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I see. Okay. And, it was just crazy. It was a crazy ride. But I do remember one time, after he kidnapped me, I do remember we were riding down the street, and I remember him saying, you don't know who the F I am, do you? But I never knew that's what he was talking about because, no, I didn't know who he was.
Lamont, you have to have the question now.
No, I was just wondering about the kidnapping part because this sounds like enough material for a movie, too. I had put on my producer hat for a minute there.
Now we got gangs, we got kidnaps, we got stabbing,
shooting.
Now, did your ex-husband?
We got abuse.
That's right. Now, Tonya, I just want to ask you, your ex-husband, did you find that? Did you forgive him too?
Yes, I had to forgive the molesters, the pedophiles. I had to forgive everybody. It was like one of those things where I had to just forgive. I had to really purify myself, and one of the actual man who molested me all those years. Well, it was a couple of them. It's a lot. That's another story. But the actual people who participated in these acts with young children, it's so funny because one of them went to jail. I hate to say karma's a bitch, but one of them has life in prison, the main one. The other tried to kill himself, and the girl, she's a crackhead. It's just crazy. All three of those people that participated in these acts with children, it's just crazy how stuff happened to them. But, that's karma for you. But I had to forgive each and every one of them. I actually saw the girl that I'm talking about walking down the street one day. And she's a crackhead, like I said. I was in L.A. riding, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, there's Renee. She's walking down. It was crazy. And I guess it was kind of like a God moment for me. Here it was. I had not saw this girl since I was a little girl, and that was her right there, walking down the street out of her mind, half naked. It was crazy. It was like a God moment. And it was, and I prayed for her, actually. And at that moment when I prayed for her, I knew I had forgiven her. And I actually felt better after that moment praying for her than I did actually seeing her. That's when I knew that I was free.
Yeah, that's great. I think it takes a lot of strength to do that, but I do agree with you that forgiveness is, until we forgive those kinds of things, piece of us stay stuck right there when these things happen in the past. And we suffer from it, and it's a way of making yourself free. And the other person doesn't always even have to know about it. I mean, does this woman know that you forgave her?
No, nobody knows. The funny part about all of this is, I'm glad you brought that point up. It's not about, you're not forgiving them for them. It's not a person. It's not something that you're forgiving them for them. You're forgiving them for you, because that's what it has to take place. The forgiveness is for yourself. So, no, you do not need to talk to anyone. You do not need to have a conversation. And for a long time, I felt like that was the only way to my freedom was to go to the jail and see Andre, okay, and talk to him. And that never came. So when that never came, it's like, okay, what am I going to do now? So I had to find another way. And the other way was just forgiveness. You know, I'm going to have to find somewhere, a place inside of me to forgive. And like I said, when I forgave everyone, I could feel like I said, it was like a purification. You know, It was like my eyes were open, literally. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like something was just snatched off of my eyes. It was like I had been in darkness for so many years. And now I was available for love. And that is what I had missed.
Well, that's a beautiful way of saying it. So once you forgave, now you were available for love. I think that's a beautiful way of saying it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Tonya, you have a book that's in the market?
Oh, yeah. 2, the Secret Life series.
Well, tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Well, the Secret Life series is based, of course, off of it's true stories, you know, kind of what I've been through in the celebrity world, my life, different stories about women. So I created the Secret Life series so that it could be something for us to be empowered with by sharing the different stories of myself and other people that I have encountered. So it's like a true story, I would say. It's based off of a true story. Of situations that I've encountered in my life, and I just shared them in a book to help and inspire someone else, and you know, hopefully that's what it does.
Is this book for women or men or both?
It's for men and women, I think. You know, I would say it's for men and women because men can learn from it, learn a little bit about women. You know, women can learn something about men and themselves. So there's 2 parts to it, you know. The first series is The Secret Life of Jade Butowski, which is about a young woman who has been married for many years. She's a mother of 2, and she put her dreams off. And because she made a sacrifice and put her dreams off for her husband and supported his career, now she's finding herself missing something. So what does she do? She entertains herself. How does she entertain herself? Like a lot of women do that are looking for love, a man or men.
Is that her entertaining herself, or is she pissed off, lashing out at her dude because she didn't put her life on hold? So now she's frustrated. Now she's angry and vengeful because she's got older now and maybe their relationship is not working out like she thought it was, but she's made that big sacrifice these years. So does that have anything to do with it?
No, she's seeking. That's all it is. She has this emptiness inside, and she's seeking for something that she doesn't even know what she's seeking for. She didn't realize that love was there, possibly. You see what I'm saying? Possibly there. But love is there, but there's some twists and turns that go on that, that happen.
But when people seek, though, when they seek, isn't that because usually there's a void somewhere?
Okay, I would say.
Wait a minute. When they seek what? When they seek what?
Well, Tonya just said this hypothetical lady was speaking of, when she was seeking and what she sought was a man, and my thing was for a person to seek anything, isn't that because there's a void that they're trying to fill? Isn't that what creates the seek?
I would say there is a void, and again, it goes back to some things that are going on in the marriage that are lacking. Remember, he's a businessman. She's a homemaker, so of course he's away a lot. Okay.
So she don't feel like she's loved because old boy's at work providing a home and a life for them. So she don't feel like she's loved enough.
There you go. The physical love is not there.
What you say about that, Matthew? Don't you deal with this in your practice?
Sure, I do. And I think Tonya's right. I think in marriages or committed relationships where someone starts to look outside, that it means that something basic, essential is missing over time in the relationship, and it's not being taken care of or attended to. And we have deep needs in ourselves for appreciation, love, affection, contact, meaningful, intimate contact with somebody else. And if we don't get it, we usually find a way to look for it. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of marriages don't do so well, is that they don't know how to make that happen. And it's a painful thing for everybody when people don't just do that without some good, in a sense, good reasons. There's something missing. Yeah, they do need that. I agree with her.
A 50-year marriage between couples, and one day either the man or the woman just wake up and just decide that they want to do something different.
It's not like one day they wake up. This is a long slide downhill until they get to the point where somebody does that. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not deeply in love with somebody one day and you wake up the next and you're looking outside the relationship. It doesn't happen like that unless you take heavy drugs or something.
I agree. I agree.
It's something that happens over time, and people step by step disconnect.
Oh, you made me think about something, because I just worked on this show the other day, Grace and Frankie, and you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. People just, I think a lot of times in marriage, people become comfortable. You think 50 years, that's a long time, And then you think, it's everything else that comes with it. It's like, what am I going to do? I don't even know how to date anymore. I've been with this one person for 50 years. I mean, this is now not only your spouse, but this is your friend. This is your everything, And it's not as simple just to walk away, after 50 years. It's a process that has taken place, and you've asked yourself time and time, okay, well, maybe I can just, maybe it'll get better next year. Maybe it'll get better next year. And the next year, and years just keep passing, and nothing ever happens. And some people just don't know what to do. So they figure, hey, when you marry, better or worse, you just stay there. This is what some people believe. This is what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to get bored. It's not supposed to be, this marriage that's perfect for like it was in the beginning. I think people now, when they get married, they just figure, you know what, eventually we are going to get tired of each other. But, we said for better or for worse, so we got to stick it out.
All I know is you men and women out there, you guys better learn how to change the flat and learn how to cook.
Tonya, I told you I was going to have to apologize for him often, so there's just another one that he comes up with this stuff. I don't know where he gets it. Nobody can change a flat anymore. Nobody. They're a freaking mechanic, and they got their own shop. You can't change a flat. Can you change a flat?
Well, they better learn some shit, boy, because it's going to get rough out there. But listen, Tonya, we got to AAA. Yeah,
that's right.
But even they take their time and they want to have a tip. But Tonya, we're down to the last couple of minutes of the show, and I want to give you this opportunity to tell everybody how to contact you, how they can reach you, and all that good stuff.
Well, everybody knows Facebook, of course. Tonya.Davis, of course. There they can reach me. The New Network TV. You can reach me there, Tonya Davis at the New Network TV. I'm on Instagram under the New Network TV. People didn't know that is me. That's my company as well. And yes, that's where. And the books will be coming out for the August.
Well, Tonya, thank you so much for joining us. You were a joy to talk to, and I'm sure an inspiration to people listening today. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy birthday, Lamont.
Thank you. I told you not to tell nobody, but thank you, boy.
I know, and what did I tell you? I got the biggest mouth in the world.
Go do in Hollywood. Thank you so much, Tonya. We enjoyed you, and hope you'll come back and join us again.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Bye-bye. Happy birthday.
Sing it to him, Muddy. That's a hard place to be in. Get up out that muddy water. You ain't know? Alright. So fly. When you up in that muddy water, fight longer, fight harder, get stronger, never give up. When you up in that muddy water, I done been up in that muddy water. I'm sorry, I'm standing on solid shore, and I don't wanna go back in that muddy water. I ain't going back on that muddy water. Okay, I told her wake up, it's the first of the month. I got up, I got my hustle on, it's time to stack up. Like Pringles and Legos and Jingles, and yeah, I play with bricks. Stack them up like cinder blocks, take you back to 06. When a dude move plenty weight, holla at young Snoopy, he could get a full plate. Known by every hood, man, woman in your area. Always on point so you can enjoy the best of it. Then I'm on the move, old Atlanta 7 Mike Vick. When I was in the whip, I always stayed C-low, cause I ain't got time to get stopped by the people, it don't equal. Cause even I know where that road goes. Now let the beat sing out. Now let the beat sing. Can I do that? When you up in that muddy water, fight longer, fight harder, get stronger, never give up. When you up in that muddy water, I done been up in that muddy water. I'm sorry, I'm standing on solid shore, and I don't wanna go back in that muddy water. I ain't going back on that muddy water. There was a time, it went to my head. The nightlife, getting dollars, accompanied by head. Party hopping, hole hopping, I'm swinging my dread. Women love me, niggas fuck with me, my meter.
I never thought I'd get to catch the spell in Hogsmeade. I never knew what 120 miles per hour felt like until Fast and Furious Supercharged. I never thought coming face to face with a hungry T-Rex would make my dad scream so loud.
And I have never felt more scared or alive. Buy your ticket online and save up to $25. Visit UniversalStudiosHollywood.com. Valid online on one-day general admission for select dates through May 24th, 2018. California residents only. Restrictions apply.
Satisfy your appetite for food, fun, live music, and more at the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, March 2nd through April 12th, only at the Disneyland Resort. And don't forget, SoCal residents can save on select multi-day theme park tickets with our SoCal resident ticket offer, but only for a limited time. Visit Disneyland.com for details. Valid for residents in select SoCal zip codes with valid ID. Tickets expire May 24th, 2018. Subject to blockout dates, restrictions, and change without notice.